Hello InRange viewers, it's me Russell Fagan, aka Sinistral Rifleman. I'm here at the High Desert 3-Gun 2019 because we have to earn over 6,000 points to earn Karl's freedom from the 3-Gun Cabal. They say Karl's made 2-Gun too popular, so we have to do these videos and earn over 6,000 points to earn his freedom. Unfortunately, Ian's off in France being a fancy lad, so I have to rely on the InRange patrons from DerpGRU to earn Karl's freedom with me. Well, as you can see, we have an interesting cast of characters here with us at the 2019 High Desert 3-Gun. We got 10 stages, 3 days of match footage, shooter interviews, all coming up on InRange. I'm with Joe, aka Pharaoh Joe, on the InRange Discord. How are you doing out here at the match?
Pretty good. Beautiful day.
So, for the audience watching, tell us a little bit about your background shooting-wise.
My background shooting-wise, I started shooting when I was a kid with my dad, and we started going to competitions when I was 15 or 16. And then I joined the Army at 18, and I kept shooting IDPA and whatever they had at the base in between training, because you really don't get to shoot as much as you think in the Army. And from there, I just really kept shooting matches. I got burnt out about when I turned 22, and I found InRangeTV, and it got me back into it a couple years ago.
You've kind of taken over as like the NCO of the group to make sure everyone's doing what they need to do.
Yeah, I think that's a role that fits naturally with the way I am. I'm one of the admins on the InRangeTV Discord, and I help a lot of these guys out because they haven't shot many matches, and they have questions and need experience and guidance for how to shoot the matches and what gear works, and the lessons that I've learned and the things I've done wrong help these guys get a kickstart into the sport.
So one of the things I've noticed is it really seems to be a path for personal improvement for a lot of these guys in one way or another, to have something constructive to go out and do.
Yeah, I think it sets clear goals for you as a person. You want to hit targets, you want to be faster, so you have to get in shape. And you know, a lot of these guys work out and train at shooting and do things that they wouldn't have done before, that nothing in life had motivated them to do previously.
Well, we're all out here doing armored category, trooper division. The Parmarad and Gun Club was originally the host range for the Ironman 3-Gun, which I attended from 2002 to 2016. Ironman went away in 2016. The High Desert 3-Gun kind of filled the void as its spiritual successor. It's not as high a round count, but a lot of the shooting challenges are very similar as far as distances and target types engaged. And last year I added armored category that you could do on top of Trooper Division. Trooper Division requires that you carry all your ammo that you're going to need for the day from stage to stage, along with all your guns. You have to have all your ammo on your person that you're going to use for the stage, which is substantial for a 3-gun match. And if something breaks, you better have the tools to fix it. So it's going to be an interesting event, watching all these guys get through this with their unique guns. One of the advantages to Trooper Division is that you can use a pistol caliber carbine in place of your rifle or pistol, or both, on the stage, as is advantageous. So you're going to see a lot of PCC action on these stages as we work our way through them. And the shooter begins at the rear of the Humvee with their hand on the wrench, kneeling. All firearms are staged in the back of the Humvee in cruiser ready condition. That's empty chamber, magazine inserted. What order the shooter chooses to engage these targets in is largely up to them. Round steel are pistol. USPSA targets are pistol. Square paper are rifle. Square steel are shotgun. Out here we have a total of 3 round targets and 2 square targets, going from about 100 to 250 yards. There is a 660-yard bonus target worth minus 10 seconds each. The shooter can engage at the end of the stage. On my run through, I opt to take all the long-range rifle shots first. There's 2 reasons for this. The first is that it's best to engage long-range targets when your heart rate and respiration are at their lowest. The second is, I definitely want to engage these precision targets before I use my shotgun to engage all the close-range steel and slug targets. I find that if I have to use a heavier recoiling firearm first, then my accuracy tends to degrade a little bit when I go for the long-range rifle shots later.
1, 2, 1, 2.
After I'm done with the long-range rifle, I go for my pistol caliber carbine. Using the PCC, I can engage all the close-range pistol steel, rifle paper, and pistol paper in one sweep, making this more efficient. All the square steel targets are designated as shotgun birdshot steel, so I'll save those when I sweep back around with the shotgun. From this forward position, there is one steel target at about 75 yards I have to hit twice. Then I'm going to clear the plate rack, ground the PCC, and reset the plate rack to be re-engaged with the shotgun on my second sweep through on the close range targets. Not enough of my shot pattern hits that target by the blue barrel, so I have to move over a bit to the left to make sure it's neutralized. Starting with a 20-round magazine of birdshot on the stage means that I don't need to reload at all for all these close-range steel. I only need to reload to engage the slug targets that are coming up at the end. With all the birdshot targets down, I reload with a magazine of slugs to engage the final steel slug plate at 75 yards.
2! Are you ready? Stand by! Stand by!
Stand by.
I'm Russell Fagan, aka Sinistral Rifleman, and you just watched Stage 1 of High Desert 3 Gun 2019. We're at the DerpGRU mobile headquarters with Austin, Jay, Jorge, and Joe, and we're going to talk about our Stage 1 match experience. So something you guys didn't see on video is we got to the range on time, actually a lot earlier than we were scheduled to shoot, and the schedule went a little wacky. So we ended up waiting about, what, 2.5 hours to shoot that stage?
Almost exactly 2.5 hours.
Right. So one of the things I notice as an active competitive shooter is the longer you wait around, the easier it is to get bored, the easier it is to get distracted. So how did you guys do on the first stage we shot?
I did pretty good for shooting my first 3-gun stage ever. I didn't understand the term from heaven to hell with respect to the fence. You had to shoot either to the left or the right of it, and I shot under it and caught a procedural.
Right, they don't extend the walls all the way to the ground, so they can do a quick look underneath and see if anybody's actually downrange. So,
yep.
Something to get acclimated to in the 3-gun match environment.
As far as the waiting around, I spent a few years in the Army, so waiting around and doing nothing is something I became accustomed to.
Well, hurry up and wait.
Par for the course. Right?
Yeah. In my case, that was probably the best stage I shot that day. It was. Yeah, the guys here told me not to worry so much and just try to live in the moment, as it were, and it actually somewhat worked. It's once I'd seen a few other competitors rotate through, I developed a pretty good stage plan and executed 80-90%. I did make a mental error. I could have been a little more efficient in the motion around the vehicle. One of the other guys pointed out that you didn't really have to go in front of the vehicle at any point in time. That being said, it was a really fun stage. The ability to sort of just engage as you see fit was really nice, and of course having the PCC there was a big force multiplier.
All right, the first stage we shot was a strong opener for me. I had the fastest time out of our group, and we had a lot of time to look at it, so I came up with a pretty efficient plan for moving around the Humvee in an efficient order of engagement on the targets. I think shooting the long-range rifle stuff first before you had any sort of respiration or heart rate increase was the best option. Whenever you can, take those hard marksmanship challenges earlier in the stage before you have any sort of physical stress going on. And went from that to PCC and then to shotgun, finishing up with the slug targets. So how did it work out for you, Jay?
For me, this is my very first multi-gun match, and like everybody said, we've seen 2 groups prior to our group go through the stages, and for me, I had no stage planning. I basically watched everybody before me and follow what I thought was the best for me, my equipment, and my circumstance. I did pretty poorly, but in a grand scheme for myself, I did way better than I expected. I did not disqualify. I got most, if not all, the targets, but the time was very slow, but in the end of the day, I felt like I did pretty good for my skill level.
And that's an effective way to start shooting matches. If you're not good at stage planning, watch the people who shoot before you, who've done it before, who can stage plan, and just copy what they're doing. And it'll start to make sense the way that they're planning stages, and as you're doing it, it'll make sense as long as you're copying the better shooters in the group before you.
Yeah, I've been shooting multi-gun for about a year now, and stage planning is one of those skills that has to be learned kind of at matches. There's no real way to plan for it or study up on it in advance. You can maybe watch YouTube videos, but yeah, it's a skill that I'm still developing. If you find out a strategy, please let me know.
And that was actually one of the things that I came here for, was to kind of get a better grasp of stage planning, because I'm still I don't know, rough around the edges when it comes to stage planning, and that's something that I kind of do it more off the cuff. And for this stage in particular, I kind of followed Russell's footsteps, where it's rifle, engage with long distance, do the PCC up close, and then transition to shotgun. And I had an equipment failure and lost all my slugs.
Your shell caddy broke.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where exactly it broke, if it was actually in the kneeling position or transitioning to a kneeling position behind the dump box. But it sent all of my slugs that I was planning on using on the slug target. It required 2, and I was carrying 4 because I haven't shot shotgun in a year and a half now, and coming into a 3-gun with a cold on shotgun, wanted 200% of what was required in that stage, and I ended up timing out on the last slug target.
You did start picking slugs off the ground and improvising and working through whatever issues the stage may have, which is an important part of shooting matches, because at some point equipment or your plan is just going to go to hell and you work through it.
Yeah, it's how you adapt to changing circumstances and when things do go wrong that will allow you to succeed. So good on you for fighting through that. Any other thoughts on stage 2, which was actually our first stage of the match?
So I also this day and stage, I was shooting with the G36 or the Tommy built T36K that I SBR'd, and I may have 1,000 rounds through it, and I figured I'd put it to the test on the clock. It didn't fail. It shot pretty well. Just my skills aren't there to compete with it yet, and I mean, you'll see it in the other videos. So.
Well, I mean, to be honest, using a red dot on some of these target engagements is the hardest way to do it unless you're using iron sights. I mean, the targets are around 6 or 8 inches on this stage, out to 250 yards. So a red dot is definitely more challenging. And in Trooper Division, the rest of us are all using variables, which makes engaging that stuff a lot easier. So, all right. Well, I think that wraps it up for Stage 2, our first stage of High Desert 3-Gun 2019. Stay tuned to future episodes for more content from High Desert 3-Gun.